Red Mesa woke like a slow drumbeat under a wide sky. The twin moons were pale like chalk marks fading, and the sun was only a faint line behind the red hills. The air smelled clean and cool. Mirror Lake lay in a quiet bowl of stone. Its surface was glass. It held the colors of the sky as if they were treasures it would not drop. Nalina stood at the shore with calm hands and a steady heart. She was Apache. She wore a simple wrap made for water work and a light vest with tools. Her black hair was tied back under a hat with a small copper badge that read, Hydrology. She had come at dawn to listen to the lake, because dawn is when lakes speak the most. She believed that. Her grandmother had told her something like that once, about rivers on Earth. Red Mesa was not Earth, but water still liked the quiet hour before day. Nalina tested the inlet where a spring fed the big lake. She dipped a palm-sized sensor in the water and watched the lights move. The lights looked like little stars in a shallow saucer. Green, blue, green. Very good. Then she set out cloth squares on a smooth rock to dry in the sun. The cloth was smart fabric, thin and silver gray with tiny lines woven through it. Those lines could feel heat, sodium microbes, and slow changes in current. People called them test cloths, but Nalina called them her listening cloths, because that is what they did. They listened to the water. She used them with care and respect. She waded knee-deep into the lake to rinse off sleep and dust. The water was cold at first and then soft, like it knew her name. She moved slowly, no big splashes, no noise. She did not need more than a moment. She was not here to swim. She was here to work and to honor the lake by leaving it clean. The wrap she wore was simple and practical. Nothing about her time in the water was careless or improper. She finished and stepped out onto the rock, smiling. The sun came a bit higher. She squeezed water from her hair and checked the cloth squares again. Across the water on the east bank, a man climbed a slope with long steps. He wore a broad hat and a rugged work suit. Dust had chosen him as a friend. Cole Navarro was the name on his tool belt, but almost everyone called him Cowboy. He did not mind. He had never herded cattle, but he fixed solar reflectors that followed the sun all day, and he was good with ropes, poles, and old tricks that solved new problems. He whistled once and raised a hand when he saw Nalina. She lifted her own hand back in a short wave. The morning felt peaceful. Then the lake changed. At first it was a flicker at the edge. The surface made a pattern like the skin of a fish. Nalina and Cole both turned. Thin iridescent shapes slid just under the water. They were like rays but smaller, the size of serving trays, and they swam in pairs. Their backs flashed blue and gold as if they borrowed color from the sky. They did not look like hunters. They looked like dancers or messengers. Nalina had seen them twice before. People called them lake gliders. No one had ever caught one. No one tried. They were gentle and rare. The gliders moved toward the rock where the smart fabric lay. Nalina took a step but stopped. She did not want to scare them. They circled once, twice, and then, quick as a hand picking a coin, the gliders rose, skimmed the rock, and pulled the cloth squares into the water. "Hey," Nalina called, sudden and surprised. "Those are not for you." Her voice echoed off the shore. Cole was already sliding down the slope. He reached the flat ground, ran along the water's edge, and cupped his hands to call back. "You all right?" "They took my cloth," Nalina answered. "Please help." He reached her side, breathing fast but steady. "Which way?" Nalina pointed to 3 small ripples moving in a neat curve. "There, they swim like a spiral." Cole squinted at the surface. "I see it. Pretty pattern." "It is pretty," she said, "and it is true. But it is also odd. What kind of cloth is it?" he asked, eyes still on the water. "Smart fabric," she said. "It listens to water." "Then maybe the lake wants to talk," he said, half a smile on his face. Nalina wanted to smile back, but she was thinking. The gliders were not wild in that way. They did not steal things. They glided, they played, they shone, and then they went back to the deeper, quiet channels. Why now? Why her cloth? Why this spiral? Cole opened his pack and pulled out a handful of round plastic chips. "I've got light tags," he said, "used for reflector alignment. We throw them on the water. They keep a steady shine and report their positions to each other. We can watch the flow." "Good," Nalina said. "Let us map the curve." They tossed the light tags one by one. Each chip pulsed a soft white glow. They spread out, drifted, and then arranged themselves along the moving path as if some invisible finger was tracing a shell. Nalina crouched and held her sensor close to the water, listening to the tiny coded whispers from the tags. Spiral, she said. The shape is real. It holds. Cole watched as the pattern pulled toward the center of the lake. Where does it end? She shook her head. It is not ending. It is going down. Cole looked and he saw it too. The light tag slid inward and then sank, slow and smooth like they had found a quiet staircase in the water. The gliders slipped along that same path, their bodies a faint rainbow. The smart fabric squares hung from their mouths like ribbons. Nalina straightened. There is a hatch down there, she said softly. You're sure? Cole asked. Yes. I felt something like this once before. She tapped the sensor on her vest. There is old terraform tech under this lake. Mostly sleeping, we think. The old records are thin. Cole whistled, but not out of surprise, more like respect. Old bones in a new body, he said. Nalina nodded. Something like that. They followed the spiral along the shore as far as they could, walking the arc with careful steps. The light tags kept up their glow. The gliders dipped and rose. Then, as the path reached a place where the lake was deepest, the tags tilted and winked out one after another, like little stars at dawn. The gliders slipped through a shimmer that looked like heat over a road, only under the water. The smart fabric disappeared. Nalina's stomach dropped, but her face stayed calm. It is taking them, she said. Cole looked at the lake's edge. He had a habit. He checked the same rock at the shoreline whenever he worked here. It was flat. It had a thin white line where the water had been the day before and a little crack with a tiny fern. He looked now and frowned. Water level's down, he said. Nalina frowned too. She walked to the rock and measured with the edge of her hand, palm to fingers. 3 centimeters, she said. Maybe 4. That is too much for overnight. It dropped right when your cloth went through the shimmer, Cole said. Maybe, Nalina said. Or, the shimmer woke when the cloth went in and the old system started to drink. Cole set his jaw. If it keeps drinking, we'll miss our daily allotment. The city will have to ration. People will not like that, Nalina said, and the farms will not like it more. They stood and watched the lake for a long moment. The sun rose higher. The mirror grew brighter. A flock of little drone fish hummed near the inlet, testing for minerals, and a wind rolled over the water from the west. Everything looked calm, but under the surface an old idea was moving. Cole tilted his head. Tell me about that old network, he said. What would it want with your cloth? Nalina took a breath. Long ago, before the first colony ship arrived, machines came here. They were small and many. They built bones for lakes, rivers, windbreaks, and soil traps. They worked from patterns. They had hatches and ducts under the ground, and they listened for signals. Some signals were strong and sharp. Some were soft and woven. Some came from devices now lost. Sometimes the network wakes a little when it hears a shape it remembers. Your smart fabric has patterns, Cole said. It does, she said. It has lines that sing a little. Maybe those lines sounded like an old key. And the gliders? The lake dipped again. It was small like a sigh. But Nalina and Cole saw it. They both felt the same quiet fear. If the old hatch kept drinking, the farms would dry, the city would ration, and small worries would become large ones. Nalina stood very still. She looked at the rings of light tags on the water. She watched the slow heartbeat from below on her sensor screen. She listened to the wind and to her own breath. Her voice was calm. We will invite it up, she said. Cole nodded. Invite, not force. I'm with you. They spoke little after that. They moved with purpose. Cole opened his pack again and took out a bundle of thin tubes, a roll of light line, and several flat pieces of composite. He also had little sound modules the size of a thumb. He clicked one and smiled when it hummed a simple note. Buoy harps, he said. Explain, Nalina said. Floats that sing, he said. Each one makes one note. We place them in a ring. Together they make a soft chord. If we line them with your heartbeat pattern, we can give the hatch a guide to follow, like steps up a hill. Nalina's eyes warmed. Yes, she said. We sing up, not down. They set to work on the shore. Cole built the frames fast with hands that knew how things fit. Each buoy was a circle as wide as a plate, with a small stem and a sound module inside. He tested one in the shallows. It bobbed and made a steady, low tone. Another made a tone a little higher, like two good friends speaking in turn. Nalina sat cross-legged on the stone and drew with her pen on a plain cloth. It was not smart fabric. It was neutral. She drew a simple weave, Slow lines, open spaces, and a soft curve that matched the lake's heartbeat. At the center, she drew a small square and wrote a short message in clean block letters. "Hello, we care for this water. We will listen, we will help. Please come to the light." She looked at the words for a long breath. They were basic, but they were true. She folded the cloth once, then twice, and set it on a clean rock where the wind would not take it. The sun climbed. The breeze picked up and then eased. The twin moons were faint now. The day sharpened. The city on the far ridge woke and sent out sounds like a hive, small, busy, and hopeful. Cole set the first ring of buoy harps on the water. He aligned them with the inner ring of light tags. When each buoy touched the surface, it spoke its note, and the note found its place in the slow chord. 12 buoys made one ring. Their sound was soft and kind. It blended with the wind and the gentle lap of the lake. Nalina tuned the sound modules with her sensor. She matched them to the heartbeat from below. She did not try to lead or to command. She walked one half step behind the hatch's rhythm, the way a person walks with an elder. After the first ring, they set a second ring a few meters out. Then a third ring. Each ring sang. The 3 rings together made a pattern that moved like breathing. The gliders returned. They came like coins tossed into light. Blue and gold moved under the surface, then rose. They circled the first ring and paused as if listening. They traced a figure 8 through the second ring, then drifted to the third. One glider had a broader back and a deeper shine. Cole thought of it as old Goldback. It came closest to the shore and rolled so its eye could look at them, patient and clear. "Hello," Nalina said. She kept her hand low and still. The glider flicked its wingtip and tapped the closest buoy. The note shifted. Nalina heard the tiny change and matched it with her device like a choir director raising a gentle hand. The buoy's voice settled. Cole checked the rock with the white line at the shore. He measured with his fingers. "Still dropping," he said quietly. "Slower now, but dropping." Nalina swallowed and did not let fear run away. "Then we will go to the next step," she said. They had made the ring sing. Now they would make the ring speak. Nalina placed the folded cloth on a small raft Cole had made from 2 buoy frames. She fixed the cloth with a small pin on one edge, so the lake could taste it without losing it to the deeper pull. She placed the raft at the inner ring and guided it into the slow current the old hatch made. The raft drifted along the ring, finding the places where the heartbeat rose and fell. The gliders followed 2 by 2 like a quiet parade. Old Goldback stayed at the front. When the raft came to the place where the spiral had gone down, the water made the shimmer again, the gentle warping of light. The hatch was there. It was awake. It was ready. Nalina spoke in a clear voice, not loud, not soft.
"We are here, we care."
"We ask you to come up. We will help you remember how to hold your own pattern so you do not need our cloth." The buoy harp shifted to a higher key, the way dawn shifts to morning. Cole's hand hovered over his wrist screen. He watched the rings and the rate of drop. He saw the line at the shore hold for 3 long breaths. Then it dipped a hair more. He did not speak. He kept his breath steady. The raft reached the shimmer and paused. The cloth did not sink. The pins held. The hatch's heartbeat rose and met the buoy tones. The shimmer grew wider. The gliders drew a circle and across Nalina's sunwheel around the spot. Old Goldback tapped the raft with its wingtip twice like a simple sign. "Now," Nalina said. Cole nodded. He touched a control on his wrist. The inner ring of buoys dimmed and fell silent. The second ring took the lead. The chord changed. It rose, then rested. The third ring followed. It was like stairs made from notes. Up, pause, up. The hatch's pulse moved with them. The shimmer swelled. Bubbles rose, small and regular. The surface lifted in a circle as wide as a small room. Water slid off a round shape like rain off a leaf. A disc came up, smooth and dull green with tiny vents around the edge and an old symbol at the center. A hand cupping a drop. "Maintenance note," Nalina said, soft with awe. The disc rose until it kissed the air. It stopped. Water ran off its edge in thin streams. The gliders swam a slow ring around it, then settled under the node like sentries. Cole laughed once, quiet and happy. "You invited it," he said. It came. Nalina stepped forward. The node's top had a hex panel that looked like it could open. There was no lever. There was only a square the size of her palm with an old-style reader beside it. There were also tiny lights that flickered like breath. Nalina pulled off her tool glove and placed her bare hand on the square. It was warm and faintly rough like old stone. The tiny lights brightened. A ring of letters formed in a small window. Not words from the colony, but symbols from the first makers. Nalina studied them. Some were familiar from training. Some were new. The window shifted to a second line, this time in plain language the colony used. Hello, function, water infrastructure. Status, calibration mode seeking key. Nalina smiled at the simple greeting. She spoke clearly. Hello, we are new stewards. We care for this lake. We asked to help. The window blinked. New lines came. Verify stewardship profile. Verify community presence. Verify intent. Nalina took out her sensor and held it close. It sent the colony's water logs. Intake, output, purity, use by farms and homes, and notes where they fixed things with care. Cole opened his wrist screen and broadcast the city's water charter, written by neighbors and approved by the council, with simple rules like share, teach, and leave places better. Nalina changed the buoy harpsichord to include a new pattern. Not just the hatch's heartbeat now, but also the soft rhythm of voices recorded at the lake over the years, people saying thank you the way children do. The chorus was quiet, but it was there underneath the notes. The window blinked again. The letters moved and then formed a new line.